Right, let's get more now on the ongoing negotiations between the UK and the EU over changes to the Northern Ireland Protocol. That is a part of the Brexit withdrawal agreement. I should say it means at the moment there are customs checks and paperwork on some goods moving from Great Britain to Northern Ireland.
Well, the UK's Brexit negotiator, Lord Frost, says some progress has been made, but significant gaps remain after meeting with the EU yesterday. Meanwhile, his cabinet colleague Michael Gove has rolled back on threats to trigger Article 16, which would suspend the agreement.
Well, GBNews' Northern Ireland reporter Dougie Beattie is live from Banbridge in County Down for us this morning. Dougie, very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. First of all, these discussions, a little bit of positivity, but still no breakthrough.
Well, no breakthrough at all. They're trying to use every single word in the dictionary to explain what they actually haven't done. Their pharmaceuticals, we reported on it, 3 weeks ago, and they're still trying to negotiate that domestic agreement over generic drugs, and that is vitally, vitally important for the people of Northern Ireland because they are, of course, inside the National Health Service. A lot of that is done through central procurement, and if we can't buy the same drugs as the rest of the National Health, well, we are in for a few problems. But I'm coming to you from Banbridge in County Down. Now, this is a border town, a market town, very close to the border, about 15 miles up the road there. Behind me is the Republic of Ireland, or Europe as it now is. And when the currencies climb and fall as they do against one another, it's places like this that are really, really hit the hardest. So if sterling's very strong, people here would have went across the border to buy their shopping, buy their fuel, and vice versa. And no matter what happens with the protocol at that stage, this is still going to be the case. And it's I suppose the protocol needs to also look at how it protects places like this economically and socially. And no matter what has happened in these talks over the last week, it has seemed to have gone absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, the main sticking point appears to be the European Court of Justice, its jurisdiction over the agreement. And that seems to be the main sticking point. The EU will not budge on that, but the UK want it scrapped.
Well, that's because of divergence. So if we start... if Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK, and the UK starts to diverge away from rules and regulations relating to food products, animal sources, etc., we are still stuck inside the European regulations, and the European Court of Justice wants the right to say, no, Northern Ireland has to stay with us. Well, that can cause all sorts of problems when you get the equivalent of the single farm payment, which used to come to us through the EU, will now be sort of separated between us in the UK across parts of Yorkshire, Lancashire, and indeed this part of the UK. Well, if we then have to start following rules of the EU and our farming and production of food becomes much more expensive, the ECJ will step in and completely keep us inside that, and we will be economically at a disadvantage. So people here saying the European Courts of Justice cannot stay. It just is impossible to do that. And Lord Frost saying, well, exactly the opposite of that. And there doesn't seem to be any meeting of minds in that.
Dick, it's interesting, as you say, almost every word in the dictionary has been used to describe almost no progress. However, we were at the point a couple of weeks ago where the finger was hovering over the buzzer of triggering Article 16 in the European Union, threatening to ramp up some sort of trade war with us. It's been dialed down. I mean, we must acknowledge that at least and appreciate that there is a change in tone. And at least for now, it seems as though there doesn't need to be a total renegotiation of the existing agreement, that Article 16 isn't about to be triggered.
Well, I think the finger has stopped hovering over the button for other reasons outside Northern Ireland. Number one of that, of course, would be what's going on in Poland. We've seen yesterday British troops being sent out to enforce a European border, to strengthen a European border, and politicians here in the unionist community saying the irony of that is that the EU are trying to annex this part of the UK. On the other side of that, of course, we also have what's going on in Westminster. Now, Boris Johnson, I suppose, would not like, he's fighting on one front, he wouldn't like to be fighting on another. I think if he triggers Article 16, he's leaving himself open for Labour, saying, I thought you had Brexit done, and of course it's obviously not done because this part of the UK is still in those negotiations. And the rhetoric really has been dialed back because of what was happening on the streets in loyalist areas of Belfast and how it was actually playing into cross-community. I mean, one community was actually starting to fight with the other one at one stage in West Belfast. So I think all the politicians had to stop, think of what their language was doing and how inflammatory it actually was.
Mm.